and good afternoon, and welcome to I suppose it's the newest edition of the full 80 minutes. We've tried to get Mr. Gledel on, guys, but we've heard he's gone. They've actually sent for him. Sean Wayne has essentially sent for him to be at the first press conference of the England squad. They feel Mick's voice is needed to rally the troops all over the country, because he's the most hated man in the country. And
after Keir Starmer,
we think, what did they say, is no news, good news, and it doesn't matter now, Mick can mix it both, but it will get the highlights of people saying, what is that doing there? So good luck with that, Mick, and we will crack on with the show. Just a little apology, we've been about 6 months, I don't know, 4 or 5
Feels
months,
like
guys.
it, yeah.
Sam, since we last did it all, so we've let the followers down, and it's actually quite good, because when we first did the original podcast 9 years ago, whatever it is, Sam will know, there wasn't many podcasts. I think there were just us and maybe one other in we never saw anything. Now I'm watching it and it's actually brilliant, because there's some really good product coming up, and it doesn't seem as competitive as it was when we first did it, Sam, and sometimes people would come on and they'd be, oh, this show, that show. Anybody who's doing a show on Rugby League deserves all the credit in the world, and I don't know what the two lads are called. I think they're fantastic.
Yeah. Outsiders, isn't it? The Rugby League outsiders.
And there's the Kyler Moore and Matt Warren, and there's quite a few others. So anybody who's doing it at the moment, good on yous. Obviously not in the same league as this, but we like
keep it bed warm while we're busy.
We'll crack on. So firstly, guys, Joe, Jimmy, the grand final, and weird. I just had Matty Pete on,
right.
So it couldn't have been any better timing. Until I said, Matty, I've got to go on the show. So I said I'd ring him back. So hopefully I would have had a little bit of... But he's put the thumbs up after the game and said, everything good, the best team won. You actually texted me, Jimmy, and said, be interested to see what Matt's thoughts are. The build-up to it all, we all thought, unless you were... I think I texted Joe before the game and said I thought KR would win. But I'd never thought that before. I just thought Wigan would be the better team, because they had the 2 point of differences in the 2 players in Jai and Bev.
Yeah.
And then they got there, and I don't know what it is, I started to change my mind. I started to watch it, the build-up, and I thought, KR might have the number here. When you saw that John Bastian suggest that first 5 minutes, Hargreaves were better than he's been all year. That was the start of saying, listen, lads, we're not going to take a backward step. And I think any of you who watches rugby, from even though they got 2, everyone said the defining moments, the 2 this lad, I'm sure you used to will mention that. I don't think so. I never wavered from. Once I saw the game going, I thought, it's on here. Mikey were very confident, Mikey Lewis, in the week, in the build-up. He thought there would be gaps on that left edge. And he thought that the speed of the forwards, they thought they could get some joy in the middle. Apologies. So... previewing the game, guys, this year, as the best team won, Joe first, as the best team won the treble, is there any argument? Any debate?
No, bad question, because they've won the treble.
Yeah.
No question there.
Because every year we do this, and we've got excuses, we pull them out of our boat, everybody, and now we're saying there's no arguments, the best team have won the treble. Jimmy?
Yeah, although I'm not going to lie, I fancied Wigan going into it, but only, it was a coin toss, wasn't it? I thought last year, very quickly, compared to last year, it was still newish for KR, wasn't it? The big days, the big events. And for that reason alone, I thought Wigan would have the edge last year. And I kind of rolled into this one thinking, well, Wigan has still got that a little bit, but all KR on the back of Challenge Cup and being a bit more accustomed to these big events. I probably only were giving Wigan it by 1 try, because I thought that they were going into it on slightly better form. And that was all. But at the same time, didn't read an awful lot into Hull KR's mini dip at the end of the year, because they'd already won league, hadn't they? So they didn't really have anything to play for it last few rounds, other than they're all thinking about playoffs, weren't they? So,
do you think, Joe, you've seen 2 or 3 teams in history, can we put this Hull KR team with them? The Great Leeds Rhinos treble 1, I think, and then maybe Wigan or Saints. I think Saints did the World Club as well, I think.
Yeah,
can we compare this team with them? We're still got a chance in the World Club now, maybe, to play.
Yeah, I'd say for the uniqueness of the win, which has been said by everyone online now. But I think obviously it's only ever been won by 4 teams before the weekend. KR have now entered that. I think it's absolutely tremendous for the game, and yes, I think it might go down as the most legendary ever. I'm putting it down as number 1, not in terms of, like you said, maybe the team. You might look back at the history books. We'll see how Mikey, Jez. I think they're going to go on as they currently are going on to be world superstars, and obviously we've got the Ashes to come, and I think that's when we see the best of them. But other teams might go down as better on paper. I think for what they've achieved and how they've done it, they've rewrote the script. The script was through NRL and Super League, you had to have a minimum of 65% homegrown talent. I watched a podcast with Gus Gold. They said there's not one team other than the Sydney team, the Roosters team, to ever win. But he said the Roosters signed a load of what would we call reserve players to come up. So they still did it young and still built a team on youth, but they brought them in at a younger age. This KR team's done it with, like you said, how many? About 2, 3 homegrown talent. I think there's one actually. I think Mikey, isn't they? Other purely homegrown. Jez and a few others have been there since a very young age. But I'd say, yeah, they rewrote the script, rewrote how to win the league, rewrote the history books. I think for that alone, they deserve all the credit because, again, Gus Gold, from everyone in the game, you can't win the Premiership without 60% homegrown team. I've done it, and fair play to them. I didn't think it were possible. We've been all talking youth development, how that's KR's crux, that they've not brought through a load of young players and they've built the team around their own. Don't matter anymore, they've won it. Once the argument's over, they've gone and won it. I think they still need to do that to sustain success, so I'll try and answer your thing before to sustain the success and have to find a couple of young talents to build upon. But other than that, I think it's unbelievable. In my history, which again isn't as long as most people watching the game, most 70, 80-year-olds who are the biggest supporters of the game will have 50 stories like this. But
you can't compare, because before that there were no salary caps.
But in my history of watching rugby league, this has been the most legendary run from, like I said, 5 years ago, getting, as you famously helped out with Dean, getting Dean, Jez. They brought Elliot in as well. They brought in all the others that they brought in that 5 years ago from getting relegated. To
miss Mikey out there.
I'd tell Mikey's homegrown, but I guess through the draft.
It was the homegrown through the academy.
Yeah, through the academy of the mixed one, so that's why I brought him from the side. From that moment 5 years ago, spearheaded by getting Mikey, which you helped out with, that it's just the most incredible journey. It's all the Lees, all the famous Huddersfield, all these teams that they've done it all. They've never won the treble, and most of them have never won the grand final, and they've done it all.
Big comment, Joe. Big comment. Just to give everyone a little bit of what I see on it. Willie Peters has got to be probably the standout coach, and I'm going to go big here, in the world at the moment. Just got the reserve. He's got the assistant for the Kangaroos, which is telling you, if I were Bulky, I'd be very, very, very worried, because Willie going in there, everyone knows what happens. The players see Willie, they've seen what he's done in England. If Willie impresses, they'll be going back to the camps and going, gee, we need to have a look at this guy. Willie's well known over there as an assistant, wasn't well known as a first team coach. Now the rat is off the back, guys. He's going to treble. Justin at St. Helens managed to get 2 gigs on the back of what he did.
Yeah.
If you look at the successful managers of career who've done it, they've gone back over there and got big gigs historically. They've done well here, and then they've gone back and they've got the gig that they wanted. So, Willie being invited into the Australian thing, he's massive. If you said to me 2 years ago, Willie Peters and be assistant coach Aussie and win a treble, and you just threw you straight through a window, so you're an absolute clown. And he's done it. So first of all, I'd like to give Willie massive raps, and I know Willie from the first day. Probably the third day he came, I met him in a cafe, and he uses this a lot with me. He said that I'd challenged him to find a winning mentality, like a tougher. And he remembers that more than me. I can remember having the chat with him, and I thought that what Joe's saying, that from finishing bottom, when we all got involved in it, and Udge said to us, try and help us push some things through. It was the Bradford thing of their decline, then taking probably, I think at the time it was Matthew Staunton, it was Elliot Menicello, it was Ethan Ryan, Medotti, there were 7, I'm just trying to get my bearings, Rowan Mills. I think there were 6 or 7 came across on top of Mikey Dean and Jez, and somebody asked me the other day in a serious meeting, and it baffled me. I think I rang you, Joe, and told you. We're at this meeting at Waking. Powley and Shenny were talking. It was like something like, how did Dean and Jez get out of Hull? And I'm sat there and I'm thinking, well, I'm the only person to know because I did it. There can't be anybody else who could tell you now. And I've used this and I'll use it again. I spoke to James Clark this morning. What Clarky does when you're talking to him is say, okay, no, don't mention me. No, because he's had a bit of stick off for it. The truth was, and I think, I hope Tag don't tell us off here because I'm going to put Tag in it. But it's the same what we said before. The John Terry one is exactly what happened. It's a player power, probably to the reason them 2 left, because they got John Terry on a podcast the other day and they said, do you think the biggest thing you lost at Chelsea was losing Salah and De Bruyne? And he went, brazen as I went, no, why do you mean? He's one of the 2 best players in Premier League history. Chelsea could have gone on to win another 6 titles. Because they couldn't get in our side. They were nowhere near. It shouldn't have been John Terry's call on Lampard, do you get me? It should have been took away in it for the future, but I get it. If you're Drogba, Lampard, Terry, and you've got better players now than what they are at that time, you're going to say, I want to win another Premiership. You're not thinking of winning another 4 or 5 in 3 years' time. Well, if you talk to Tag about it, with Dean and Jez when I approached to ask the questions, they wouldn't have got inside. They had Minichella and Gazellis at back row. Dean were playing utility, he'd been on Wakey on loan. Danny Alton were playing, and they made a call within the players' group. I know how strong the players' group were there, with Rads and with Lasty, and it would have been said, well, they're not going to play. So they took the 50 grand or whatever it was for it. I think there were a transfer fee, but we did it really quick. There were no resistance whatsoever. And the 4 players for me who stand out in Ulkiar's, Mine's a Mikey, Jez, Dean, I can't even talk about it because
we're going to have to shortly, aren't we?
He's just Superman. He's just literally, we called this in 2.5 years, but somebody rang last night and said, like, he handled December, apologies. And I said, but he has done every time they played this year, the back end of the year. He really rattled him earlier on this year, rattled him and fronted him up. Dean's the real deal, and he's probably number 1 money ball in the world. I think what I mean by that is what Dean's on in a salary cap sport is phenomenal. Maybe people say I ain't done a good enough job. You know, and I can take that. We've always had to do it because Dean, 2 years ago, Dean got so many concussions. I don't know if you remember, he got 3 or 4, and they used that, not use it, but we negotiated around. But Dean's just an Elliot. I've got to give Elliot Menichella. You know, he's come from Bradford. We used to call Elliot the cheap man, Sonny Bill Williams. You know, he was at 18, he was unbelievable. We could never think of a position for Elliot. Used to think, where does he play 6? Does he play 13? Does he play centre? Does he play back row? You know, and unbelievable what he's done and led the club and become really the leader of that group in a way. Jez Litton, without doubt, has got to be, the best hooker now. We think in this country, probably top 3 in the world with the form he's on. Yeah. If he gets a chance, which we're going to announce in a minute, but he's going to get the chance to go against the best hooker in the world, Harry Grant. So that question will be answered. Can he do what some hookers now? I think Rugby was the number 1 hooker in the world for about 3 years. They always said Cameron Smith, they always said this, but I thought when Rugby were right on it, I've never seen anybody play. The Aussies couldn't believe he played 80 minutes the way he did. And it wasn't what Cameron did, he did a Paul McShane role, it was pass, clever. This is running. Rugby were mixing 250 metres with 50 tackles. So as an athlete, it was at another level you've never seen. Jez can do that. It's whether, we're not getting into it, but whether Wayne chooses to play Des Clark and then brings Jez on. They made a lot of Mickey Max role in the OKR thing, and I suppose in a way it did do it. Mickey coming on for 15 minutes, allowing Jez to come on there. Yeah. I suppose that were a masterstroke by Willie Peters again. But I think the club deserve all the credit. I think we're higher than that. All them lads who played, Joe Burgess. Joe was a big supporter of Joe Burgess when he first come, thought it was a great signing. Everybody. Iku come as a fullback. He's now adjusted into one of the best centres in the game. the whole process of that 5 year is an absolute phenomenon. And can they do it again? Well, they've certainly got the money factor to go and back it up if they want to do. Paul Aiken, probably one of the greatest signings in OKR's history. We're getting him as a CEO. He changed the club round. Didn't have it easy. Tony Smith and him went at it that first year. A lot of people were questioning how. Can you remember the old fans were going mad saying, get Tony back, get him out.
Yeah.
And he's rode the storm and he's created this. Here's a story I don't think anybody knows, and I hope I don't get. We said this and we're going to get shot, aren't we? But
we got 6 months for
when this is true, when Tony left, Danny took us temporary coach, Danny Maguire. Danny was going to be potentially had a chance for the coaching job. They didn't think Danny were ready. And that were a tough call by Paul and Neil, because we probably were going to say, well, if he ain't ready, we're going. But they wanted him to stay within that group of people. They thought Danny was brilliant with the group, and he was. And he a lot of them young players you're talking about, to be fair to Danny, had a lot to do with that as a recruiter and then as a coach. So Danny was needed within this group. And then I think Paul went to meet, and I'm going to get this Seaball. Anthony Seaball.
Yeah, Seaball. Yeah.
And he was the one that there was earmarking for the job. I think it was Seaball who said to, I can't got it because I've got a year's contract with the Australian, but there's a guy called Willie Peters, and I think he's going to be. So we all need a friend like him, and I think once they met Willie, Paul, massive call when you think about it. Willie had done nothing over here. What we thought, he didn't have the reputation as a star player in England. You wouldn't have said Willie Peters. Oh, he played for Newcastle and Wigan. You know, and he never had a massive reputation as a player here. I never heard of him as a coach. Little bits as a number 2. So I think the call from Paul, and it was Paul who drove that home and then come to us and negotiate Danny as a number 2 if he'd stay with Willie. Probably one of the greatest calls. That is one of the biggest calls in the history of KR, in my opinion. I think that one alone stands out as one of the bravest calls for a coach I've ever seen.
Yeah.
And I think that's where the old club deserves all the credit. We'll move on now. So let's put KR aside. I'm going to put it on you, this lads. When we talked the first meeting about Wigan not making a signing for this year, did we think it was Matty they were that confident they couldn't? The squad they had were good enough without making. I've never known a grand final team not make a signing. Are we now saying? Are we jumping? Matty had said to us now, don't we saying that now because we've got beat?
Yeah, I can't, because I remember at the start of the year, I believe that they did have enough. You know, so even though it's quite a brave call not to even add 1 or 2, I still thought Wigan would come top of a tree, and OKR would be maybe 2-3 wins behind them. I did think they had a gap on them, and it goes back to what you're saying about like on the Willie Peters thing. Like, clubs find it so hard to find a coach who's quality, who's got the work ethic, and I think one of the things that stands out about Willie Peters all the time is he's so intense, and you know that he is not. There's no shortcuts. There's no clocking off early. He's come here with a mission, and they're either with him or they're not, and they've gone with him. So I can't turn around now with hindsight and go, maybe they should have done this and maybe they should have done that, because I'm sure we're in a situation where they were like, well, there's no one available who you think we can improve us. There was probably 1 or 2 positions that us lot might have thought, well, if you could get someone in that position, that would be nice, but maybe they weren't available.
And I think the big... how do I word this well? It's not my strong suit. I think the issue with what happened at Wigan wasn't the lack of signings. I think it was potentially some of the signings they made the year before, which is going to get me shocked. Or it might have been the year and a half before. So
you mentioned deep in age, or you're going to have to get it out.
Yeah, so I'd mentioned, sadly, Tyler Dupree didn't play. He was their big money signing the year before. Cruz didn't play a large part in the final. Brad O'Neill obviously started and played 65, 70 minutes. Who I think some of them signings are the ones that they actually, maybe hindsight would say they got wrong. Matty stuck with the youth and the Wigan identity, and I don't think many of them let it down. I think the one where the fans are saying on Twitter, are the older legs, but I don't know. It's a tough one when they've won so much to drop an older leg into in the final. We've had debates over this for years, but obviously I think a bit of Marshall, a bit of
Farrell.
And Farrell got criticised a bit, but that would be if Matty made that call and it didn't work out, they would be criticised. How can you miss out someone who's at some? So I think it was more the players that they had on the salary cap that didn't play because of one reason or the other, and I don't think it was the lack of signings. I think sometimes it's the signings you've made in the previous that they probably got wrong, and Matty maybe didn't have enough action on getting them right. So I'd change it a bit and say they could have made a couple of changes on previous signings. And
I still think if that final gets played 5 times, I'm still going Wigan win 3 and KR win 2. I still think Wigan.
That's a big one.
That's
a massive.
I don't think there's anything. I don't think there's anything in them on the day. And you look at that game and a couple of early bombs from Wigan. It's gonna change the game. I don't know if anybody who predicted KR to win comfortably like they did in the end. I think most people thought it was going to be very close. So
26-14 I text you before game.
I said what did I say? I said 18-12 to KR. So
yeah, so I think one try. So that genuinely would be the biggest I'd heard. And so I think it's too hard to criticise because I still think there's not much in him. But for KR to get the job done on the day, and it's Farrell's had a few bullets, and understandable because he made 2 or 3 really uncharacteristic errors. But like Joe says,
we were on the right edge as well, don't you think? He's usually played. Fazio always played on that left edge. I thought he was on the opposite side. I think don't know why that happened. I've always remember Faz being on the left. You'll have to correct me, Wigan fans. A big thing I thought is this: you're to blame.
Me?
Yeah, I'm going to give you it personally. You've had a big hype train with the best player in the world, top 5, Bev, and I have a bit with Jai. Your problem is, and let's all be honest now, the reason Matty probably never fixed a lot of things is because when you've got the 2 bullets to unleash anytime you want, and it's proven over the last 3 years it works. I think that's been the reason they didn't go to the market. I think they thought they had enough with them 2 to go through any game, and then when them 2 were fully fit, it were game over. And I think that's disguised a little bit because they need athletic pace on the wings. Liam Marshall's been one of my favourite players for the last. How many times have I said to you, Colin, imagine somebody like him in your team? Yeah. Just and is it the London lad? Miski. But if you look at, and this is probably the bit that's going to be controversial. The 2 Wigan lads on the other wing both came from Wigan. And I'd swap them 2 for them 2 any time that week.
The 2 KR lads.
Yeah.
No, yeah, but they both come from.
Yeah, both Wigan thingies, and they're playing for KR.
Yeah.
And I thought, I'm not, Tom Davies. I wouldn't be shouting for Tom Davies to play finger, but he's a yardage monster.
Yeah.
Joe Burgess has been nothing but phenomenal. But they're Wigan wingers, and probably should have stayed with Wigan at the time for 10 years. Liam Marshall had to work his way through. And that's why I admire him as a player that much, because he had to do it the hard way. Whereas Burgess at 19, we watched Burgess in the academy, we're going to be a superstar, we all thought. And then I think he left it to Roosters, didn't he? About 22, whatever it was. And Tom Davies, they had to make a call on Tom with the cap. And they decided to let him go to Catalans at the time.
Yeah.
But interesting that I think because of them 2, that has masked sometimes. And getting Bevan back, what you said earlier on, we know I'm running. He'd only had 6 games, and you're thinking Bevan fresh. Oh God, everyone's
and they've shown it, haven't they, in the last 6 weeks?
What they've done to Bevan, KR, a few times, they've neutralised him. They've absolutely. I'm watching it. What we Joe were like, they were murdering him. They were making sure when he got the ball, they were coming from inside.
Yeah, and swarming him.
He didn't know he was stepping. He was trying to pass quick. He did uncharacteristic mistakes because they pressured him like you've never seen. We're going to go back to Willie Peters again. That they got that bit right.
Yeah.
Jai, somebody said on the telly, let's keep chase this year to look at. They didn't give Jai an inch. As soon as that ball went up, there's 3 of them flying in, and it was crazy. So good for us in a way. I'm dying to see if Wigan come in. Now Wigan have got the power to sign anything they want.
Yeah.
They've just lost. Joe's just mentioned the youth coming through. Farham and a few others, the winger, there's going to be a few. But not the numbers that there has been historically. And let's give Matty Peet some massive, massive, massive respect. To lose your best players every year like they do. Morgan Smith and Matty Nicholson both were in there. They both played for Canberra. Every year they seem to lose somebody else they have to pass on because they usually lose them twice. I think it's happened 5 in the last. Kai Pearce-Paul. So how he's managed to keep on adapting that team is phenomenal. It's just unbelievable. But I think if I had chairman at the moment, I think I'd be saying, let's give us a little bit of a jolt. Let's get that checkbook out. Let's have a look. Let's go sign 2 or 3 into the market and let's make a massive splash next year, because unless he's that stubborn and he goes, what you're saying, we can beat them. With this team, I'd be shocked. I think that meeting, and I challenged Matty on this, and again, I hope I'm doing it as his friend. Matty's, if you know Matty before last 2 years, he's taking your tuck money. Get me? If you're at shop and we took money, that's coming. Matty's taking your tuck money and saying, don't say out. I think Matty, I love him now, and my God, he's immaculate and he's polished, and he's always saying well done to opposition, and he's saying this right thing. Matty, as your friend, I want a bit of the old Matty back. I just love that bit of animosity he's got. But he's got one of the worst death looks you've ever seen. When he looks at you and you say something, he'll go, why do you say that? And when he puts it on you, eyes go in, and he'll just stare at you and you think, oh God. I think, do you know what I mean? I think even Matty, I said this, do you think because they've won the last 3 years, have they won it and just totally dominated? Is it hard each year?
Well, they say that in every sport, don't they? To keep doing it, it gets harder and harder. And KR, because KR have missed out so slightly last year, there wasn't much in that final last year. It were a bit of magic from Bevan. And we look at the 4 players going into the game, Jai and Bevan against, for me, Mikey and Jez, because they're out of those 4, all 4 of them are probably in top 6, 7 players of the year. And Mikey's probably got, I've heard enough about him. I'm going to show this is my time. And Jez is the silent assassin, really, because he started to get a bit more attention and a bit more plaudits, but he's still been massively underrated. And then they both step up and they go, they're the stars at show, where most people would have still been looking at, it's a final, is Bevan going to turn it on, is Jai going to turn it on, because we hadn't really seen Mikey deliver in a final to the extremely high standards he does week in, week out, and it was their time. We're more confident, they've been here before, and they've dished them up, and that was, well, it was brilliant for us, but I think for most people, like Joe said, to become the 5th team to actually do it, and to take on a Wigan team who were full strength, surely. There might be one who didn't play who might have done, but everyone always says, Wigan without Bevan and Jai, they're a top 5, top 16. But whether it's true or not...
Well, no, results tell you that's ridiculous, isn't it?
No, the stats are horrendous against Wigan.
Yeah, but the win top rate, 5, that's like a 16-point gap in there between Wigan and KR.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah. I think it's exaggerated, but the point stands that their success rate without them two is nowhere near. But they had him. KR have beaten them at their best and shown that it's changed.
What's your opinion on that? KR had any injuries, and Willie's, if you went pre-season, I saw it, he were hammering them. So he didn't do it the other way where they say light. Leeds were very light pre-season.
Build.
This has been, he's asked him to play 30 odd games on the stuff. Where Mikey's played more or less all year. Jez has played all year. May got injured, but there's probably 8 or 9 of them who probably played 25 plus games at an intense level.
Well, I think at one point, I don't know if it ended up being true because of, like I said, maybe the end of the season. But at one, they had used the least amount of players out of any team.
It's incredible, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, I don't want to. I'll get shot for saying this because it's unfair.
We can't see saying we get shot because they're not left of us.
Well, a lot of that is also luck. To be fair, you do need luck need luck on your side to win a championship, as does everything. I'm a big love my rugby league. Also watch my NFL. San Francisco, as you had a gamble last night. San Francisco were the number 1 favourites, and they're in week 6 now. The squad's decimated. They've got 4 out for the season. It's game over. Dad should have asked me before he put a bet on for them to win last night, so he didn't ask, and then he got in the phone. So I think you do need luck. I think so. That is definitely, sadly, a part of it that no one, like I said, you can't really determine that, so it shouldn't be a part of it. But well,
Paul said they spent the most. He thinks they spent, if not the most, on rehab.
Yeah,
he said our budget for that is massive.
Yeah.
Definitely makes
and
a
they changed the difference 2 years ago. They changed the club round to do that. They said,
good.
We're not going to scrimp and straighten any type of rehab and conditioning. There's no quarter. This is the highest level we can possibly get. So they did do that. I know. I can remember Paul saying, "Get ready, we won't get as many injuries because we're going to put that much into." Yeah.
Well, we need more of that, don't we?
And they knew it was something that they looked at. I think they knew that Willie's trying. So they thought,
we need to protect him.
We're going to have to make sure we protect these players because Willie's going to give them absolute.
But for not like an ACL or an Achilles to go, I think all the S&C in the world can't. Touch wood, can't determine a random injury like that where you just lean the wrong way, and so a bit of that. But fair play if that, like you said, all the money that they've put in, it's definitely worked for them to play the little amount of players. That was my one thing against KR. I said they'd win the grand final, but I've said when I had the prediction beforehand because they had the players in, but that running when they didn't, they had pretty much zero squad rotation other than Noah Booth playing a couple at the wing, one or two dropping in, Bill Leyland coming in and out.
Yeah, Broadbent with the full back and
Broadbent.
He's been a great squad player.
So you've had 3 or 4 squad players. The rest are in week out. It's I've never seen anything like it. And the fact they've done it is a testament to the S&C and that side of things as well, because I don't.
Well, you can see how invested they look, can't you? I always think you see Willie, Danny Ward, his staff. They're all there. The investment off the field is serious investment now.
The only thing I think is really important on that is if we go back maybe 4 to 6 weeks, there were a lot of people saying this Hull KR team looked tired for this reason, and the form was just dipping. They made really hard work of winning the league leaders in the end. They limped over the line, but they'd done all the hard work before that.
Week off were brilliant, bro.
Week off. So this is what I'm saying, that because they'd given themselves such a cushion over Wigan, Wigan was still fighting for second spot to get the home advantage because Leeds were pushing them until the very death. So when Hull KR's performances were dropping and they were looking tired, it's like what I said before. They'd already done the job. There were no way they weren't winning back league leaders, even if they made hard work of it by the end. And I think even within those games, even if some of them players were going at 80%, they'd probably give themselves a little bit of a rest within playing, but kept their sharpness. Then the week off comes, they're all refreshed and they're ready to go. And that's fair play to them, because Wigan cocked it up. They lost a couple of games they should never have lost. And even that round 1, the 0-0 with Lee, and then they lose 1-0. It was always going to be so tight between them two. It was always
Lee just couldn't convert because they had him at times through middle. They did that semi-final. I was watching it thinking, characteristic Lee didn't get Lammy didn't go to his number, but the yards they were making through middle in that first half were scary.
Yeah.
So there probably was some warning shots.
Yeah, and I think that's
KR could get into the game, but.
And ultimately, those two were always going to be the top 2 teams this year. And it's hard because with respect to the rest of the competition this year, Leeds had a good period and we were looking like, they could be dangerous in playoffs, same with Lee. But the smart money was always on a KR Wigan final.
Yeah.
And it was probably more than ever not enough tests for those teams. And, Matty might turn around and go, we could have done with another 5 really tough games, to be ready for.
Be interesting because taking it into this will have a big thing when you're successful as a club, as we knew with a lot of clubs. We can say it's late. This international thing now will take a lot out of players. The strain on Mikey and them who've made the squad, they're going to need massive rest. And they've got Vegas to have a World Cup. It is monstrous. That they're going to have Wigan. To be fair to Wigan, they did it this year. They did the Vegas, they hammered Warrington at Vegas, and then they went through that period. They looked like they were just all flat.
Yeah.
Now KR got off to a start.
Yeah.
So this is going to be reversed next year. your ones who are not involved, a lot of teams haven't got a lot of, I think Saints have got 6 in or 5 in, we'll discuss that in a minute, but they've got that, but KR is certainly the ones who are going to be there, you're going to have to protect a lot, because I tell you now, I can remember seeing Gailey, Danny, the lads who played a grand final, and then I can remember Gailey saying to me, after 17, he not saying he wasn't the same, but he said that run they had in England, he said, honestly, June, July, he said, just couldn't feel me. It's an out-of-body job because you're that jaded and that tired because you playing 33, 34 games, and then you think you've got to your top intensity grand final, then you've got an intensity, which is, you're going to go above, so you're fatigued. So it'd be interesting how...
Yeah, the start of the season.
How KR go, in bringing they brought young Jack Charles in. I don't know whether they'll play him with May a bit. I don't know whether that, and will that be as effective? Can't, because of levels Mike is at. So there's a few things I'm sure in the pipeline where you're looking at Jez, if he has to have a rest. Will they then, Mickey Mack's not there now, so they've got the young London lad. Yeah, we've got a lad who's just going to go on loan. So it'll be interesting, because that start again next year, you'll be thinking if somebody can get 5 or 6 games start on them clubs who've got a lot of international players.
Yeah.
If I was somebody like Warrington who've had a nightmare year, you'd be thinking, right, this is it.
Yeah.
Let's hit this first fight. Sam Burdish should be saying, lads, let's win 5 out of 5. And we're in the right position here. Do you know what I mean? I think that'll happen. But listen, overall, unbelievable year, unbelievable result. Some of the best games I've watched since I've been a fan of rugby league, and that's just, forget about the age and the fan. Honestly, some of them games this year, I was thinking about it the other night, thinking I've had the best year. I usually get bored by September. I'm like, no. I think it seemed to keep alive. Lee kept me alive, thinking, God, they're playing unbelievable. This team, like you said, Leeds had that run.
Wakey's year,
Shaky Wakey. Yeah. We've had stories everywhere, haven't we? And then it's not been as depressive at the bottom. I know we've had Salford, which has been horrific, but apart from Huddersfield, have probably, that's been...
They pulled it together.
But overall, the big games have been... to sell out the games we've done, Lee and LKR, selling out. Yeah. It's absolutely... So we're back on the big stage. We've got the test match to come. It's an unbelievable year for rugby league. In a way, it has. It's been an unbelievable year. We should all be proud. Whoever's involved in the sport should be so proud of what's happened.
On field, we need to
the best player, Jake Connor. Now, I've been saving myself for this. We got told for critiquing Jake about 5 years. I told you the famous story. He texts Gailey, said, "Hey, your mate." And I said on the programme, I never called Jake. I thought I'd motivate. I tried to say to Jake, come on, we all think you're class. It's just that you're not going to be that player unless you get a grip. Jake, from me, unbelievable, mate. You are so unlucky not to get a chance at that test match in some purpose. I don't know whether you'd have started, but you certainly deserved a chance. You redeemed yourself. You got to a club that you loved. You got to a club that were big enough to handle you, Jake. That's the truth. You got to the biggest club in the world, in my opinion, in Leeds Rhinos, and you got the stage. Frank Sinatra finally got his stage. You got the ball. You got everything you wanted, and you got the legs around you, which Leeds have got massive physical athletes. And well done to you. You're a credit to what you did. They very misunderstood that he actually was a kid who loved rugby league. When Gailey told me that, I said, "He never misses your show, never misses this, talks about rugby league."
Coaches it, Siddle.
Coaches it. So this lad who was so misunderstood, and that Man of Steel speech, I nearly cried. He said, very emotional for him. Jake absolutely deserves all the credit in the world. He gave us some moments this year that have been breathtaking moments.
Yeah.
I think we've seen the emergence of some young players, lads. I'm sure we're all excited. The young players who are coming through, we're like, wow.
Here we go.
We've got some superstars coming, so...
It'd be nice if Sean Wayne picked a couple.
Well, we can go on to that one next, but yeah, deservedly, guys. I'm going to save the championship of the Champ 1 for when Mick's here, because he loves that.
He's not bothered about that anymore, though,
He's not bothered because he thinks
we'll see. 2 days before
But let's give a little mention when he's not here, guys. Right, let's put that to the side. It's the biggest decision on Thursday in the history of the sport. I'm told it's Wednesday night.
The clubs are going to find out
on Wednesday night who's in,
the announcement's Thursday morning,
and they're going to announce it Thursday. The word of Clint at York to us last week was, I think it was something like, "If you don't hear anything, my friend, I'm at the airport. No, you're not. Don't sue us, mate. Don't sue us, Clint. It's a laugh. It's a laugh. It's a laugh. We did, if that were Mick saying that, Clint would have me brought. We've got enough credit with Clint. He actually rang me and Joe and thanked us for our journey and you know, and all this, had shown me, had been behind me, and he was so, how can I put this, humble in a way. I think the nerves are kicking in.
Yeah.
I think Clint had it 3 weeks ago. Big Clint Toler's walking in, and he's the king, and all of a sudden they lose grand final. A couple of things to lose, suddenly go, London flight lock you're in. You're all thinking it's a nightmare, and then you're all going, holy shit, it's on. Then you've got the demise of Salford, obviously, from before, so that's another team that's not going to go in, and that's sad, and that's a full story on its own. So I'm looking now, guys, we're going to make a prediction. It's going to be a 5-minute prediction.
Right.
Jimmy first, name your 3 teams, Jimbo, that are going to get that call on Wednesday to stay in.
Or to go up.
To go up.
Right, so I'm there's been a change. There's been a change, and it is because of that Toulouse winning the grand final. So just to clarify really quickly, unless something ridiculous happens, the top 12 teams are going to be decided on IMG grading points. 13th and 14th are going to be selected by an independent panel and a Lord.
What's his name? Lord
Nigel Ward.
That was Lord Darcy, I think, isn't it?
I don't think it's Darcy, but it's something like that.
Lord Michael.
So, but everybody has put their hand up and said, if we're 13th and 14th and we don't get the central funding, we still want to go, we believe we can do it. So everyone's in.
Full time.
Yeah, everyone's up for a spot. I think York, by not winning the grand final, I would like to think it's not hampered them too much, but what it has done is it's given Toulouse a real chance to sneak into the top 12 on IMG points, because that 0.25, as small as it sounds, it's also close. That could easily put them above. It could put them above Huddersfield, to be quite frank. So I now think that Toulouse, who I believe we're going to get shafted, and I mean shafted, by the powers that be and loud voices. The Curry Club especially. Because the desire for another French team is still not there for a lot of people who go on about, but don't bring any fans.
I'm laughing. Just been Curry in it. Bloody French. What do they bring to the
What they bring to the game, yeah.
Bloody overseas everything. Yeah. Where's Curry from? You know?
They might as well have been at a lovely French bistro saying the same thing. So I think that, and I'm really hopeful it's true, because I do believe Toulouse deserve a shot. They've been asked to do so much over the years financially to help clubs come over and play them. They've stayed full time. They've been the most consistent performers in the Championship by a long way, to be quite frank. So I think they sneak in. Bradford, I think, are in the top 12. And that is quite simply, and I'll be diplomatic with how I say it, they have been better than everybody at playing the IMG game. So have Bradford delivered on the field? No. York, Toulouse ahead of him. They've been consistent-ish, but what they have done, and you've got to give them credit, in theory, is that they've done really well with the IMG scoring. There'll be lots of people say, and there's been a story last week about buying followers for social media. This system can definitely be manipulated, and points can be achieved.
We know somebody personally who 5 years ago we thought did that, but we're not allowed to mention it because of the immense pressure. His followers went up from from 900 to 1,300 over a weekend.
Yeah. And, I remember Thomas Minns buying 30,000 followers. Do you remember?
Yeah,
Minns bought a lot. Yeah. So I think Bradford are in. I mean, they're making the announcement at Odsal. You know, you couldn't get any more nailed on as possible. I think Bradford are in, and I do think Toulouse have snuck into the 12. So that now means for me, Huddersfield will keep the spot. There's no way they chuck Huddersfield out. I can't see it because there's so much change going on. To ditch someone and take a risk on even more new teams, I don't see it. So now York are up against London. York have been everybody, any purist has been saying, get York in based on what they've achieved this year. They fell at the last hurdle, but they won the 89-5, they won the league. They are the best team in the Championship, they've proved it, and they lost a final, which I believe they would have won 4 out of 5 times. But they're now up against London, who've got Gary Everton involved, and then the Aussies come over, look amazing, sound amazing, start signing ex-Kangaroos, we're going to do this, that and the other, and York start to, as you said, get nervous, shit yourself, basically. But I'm still hopeful and confident that York get the last spot, and that's, for me, what's correct. They should say to London, this all sounds amazing, and it's exciting, and this is going to be brilliant for everybody, but just do it for a year. Prove it to us for a year, because if they choose London over York, which I predicted 5 months ago when we last did the show, when I thought it was going to be a stitch-up, I think it's totally wrong. So I'm going Bradford, Toulouse, and York getting over London, which I believe is a nightmare for the RFL, who were looking, not the RFL, I believe a lot of people were looking to shaft the French. And I'm hoping Toulouse have put themselves in a position where they can't, because they've crept into 12. If Toulouse aren't 12, they'll get shafted.
Nice 1 minute summary there, Jim.
Yeah, well put. A lot of things to think about.
I've been thinking about it for 12 months, so it's.
So have I. So I'd say my counter to Jimmy, because he's covered pretty much most of the angles, but he's missed one out, to not give London a fair shot in this, is London have obviously, I guess you go in between York and London. I personally, like you said, we've got a close affinity with the Mad Clintola, but we've got a close affinity with the club, the team.
The Mad Clintola.
Yeah,
be careful with that one.
We can have it in our friend way, because he's a character. But I think we've got a close affinity. I love the city. I'd move to the city. I've probably got plans to move to the city itself. So I'm preferably selfish. I'd like York in, but I'd say the counter to Jimmy's one is London have historically over the last 2 years been shafted just as much as anyone else. Toulouse have they've had to give a lot to the game to even survive. London that year, 2 years ago now, to be put in Super League, then told there's no way you're allowed to stay in and have to run off part-time, and everyone said, oh, well, they did really bad, because they knew they were going down. Yeah. Then their owner pulls out because of that. Then Mike Eccles, to be fair, I'm close with Mike, I've got time for Mike. He sits there with no budget at the start of this year, just keeps the club alive. They finally get the invest, and he's saying, well, we deserve a shot, we've been hardest done by. So I guess that's the natural counter, because York have built much more sustainably than any other club, I'd say, like you said.
I'm not saying London don't deserve a shout, by the way.
No, I know, I wasn't accusing you of saying that. You missed that bit out, which I think deserves to be said.
Yeah, definitely.
So you got Toulouse and...
Toulouse, so it depends. The IMG one, Toulouse have probably got to be in now because they won Challenge Cup. Championship Club Grand Final. Then Bradford would be the ones that I wouldn't put up at the moment. I think that stadium, I'll be the one to stay at the stadium. It's nowhere near a Super League quality stadium. You can argue other stadiums in Super League aren't Super League quality, fair point, but that Bradford stadium should not be in Super League. So whether they've got plans in writing that next year they play somewhere else. There was rumours ages ago, but then nothing's come of it since. Like I said, what they've done with the TV board, where they've got the points for the TV board, but you've had better for your UFC showings with gardeners and people around just for fun. So there's stuff like that I don't think that. But I think, like Jimmy said, the IMG game's already done, and I think they've the word on the street, according to Mr. Gledall and others, that they've up in IMG. So, like I said, it sadly seems on paper, unless Bradford haven't got the IMG points, that it's between York and London, and that's a massive call. I want both clubs up. I would preferably see it, York and London as my two guarantees over Toulouse and Bradford. I don't know. I can't. I just.
There's one last little angle that favours London, and that is the TV deal. Because the TV deal's up for renegotiation, the term presence in the capital is getting thrown around a lot, and it is important. How important it is, I don't know. It could be said
they can't get under the sticks as much as the North can.
True.
Well, and I think, to be fair, TV-wise, because there's that many people in London, if you look at the number, like we used to laugh at our show, our largest viewer base was in London. I think they said Skies, it was actually one of the top 5 places top 4 places was actually in London because of the Sky, and they can't go to the stadium and what. So I think London probably will get in that. I think
that's a big. I think that's a real fair thing for it.
Long story short, I want Clint and the York City Knights in. They might be the ones to suffer though, and that's not my opinion or choice, but I'm nervous that they're the ones that are going to get shafted out of this.
So you're going Bradford, Toulouse, London.
If the IMG point, if Bradford are in through IMG, that has to be the case. But if they're not in, I think Bradford should be the ones to not go up yet, because like I said, they've not really done it on the pitch except sign near £1 million worth of players. And the stadium's not for me. It's just, I don't think it's for anyone other than
no one likes
Bradford,
except
than Bradford historians. Which fair play, I get it, understand the history, but we're in the modern day, it don't matter as much now.
No, especially when York's so good and the London Stadium's so good.
So yeah, I'd say I'd be worried if I were York. I'm hoping IMG. I'd see where Toulouse and Bradford lie IMG, because York and London would be my top 2 in. Worried for York because of current ways of IMG. Not manipulation, it is what it is. I appreciate them doing stuff to change, but because of IMG ratings and Bradford are supposedly guaranteed to be in, I'm panicking a little for York.
Right, guys, thank you. Brilliant, brilliant opinions there. I think the obvious one is what Joe's hit the nail on the head, in my opinion. That I think with all 3 of us admit we'd probably like London and York in as a neutralist.
I wouldn't want London in. I think we need to do one more.
I would. I'd like them in, but I think. Listen, London have had 10 goes at it. Let's be honest. York have never had a go.
No.
They've given London 10 goes. We have talked about London doing this since I joined. Doncaster 18, 19 years ago, it were always London, Sky deal. All the same things we're saying has been thrown. They've had 5 or 6 goes here. Hopefully this new consortium, with Gary, who's a proven administrator, the highest led this gospel, I agree with Jimmy, of the year would be perfect. And I think they've got a bit of that. We all know, underneath it all, London are making signings and saying to the signings, look, you're here whether you're in the Championship or Super League, we win full time. York are all in, I'd say. I think Toulouse, like you said, have come from probably 4th now, then that Championship run, and it's like, And I'm with Joe on Bradford. I think history-wise, I think it's fantastic. Just doesn't add to me, and I think if they did move stadium now, I'd love it. I'd probably jump back on.
Yeah.
If they said, you know what, we've just got this brand new 8,000 seat stadium like Huddersfield are on about doing.
Yeah.
It finishes the job off for Bradford in Super League. We've got this brand new stadium. We've got this new crowd. We're going to try and attract these people and come and enjoy a brilliant game day experience, which Bradford bought 20 years ago. Unfortunately, it's 20 years over.
Yeah.
And I think if Bradford did that, I'd be right on it. But I'm with Joe. I think the stadium, when you turn up there, the pitch, I've had at least 6, and I hope this is not controversial, but we've had 6 top coaches and players saying, mate, that is a tough goal to play on there. Like, you're talking £10 million of talent, whatever, of a period playing at Bradford, and Rook's slowing down because pitch is so small and so muddy, and you're thinking, do you really want to show this all over the world? I don't think so. I think camera will have to be stood on certain bits, because if it goes round and you go, is
that dirt track going?
Well, I'd like to think that if they make the big time, they can afford to not have speedway.
But I think Erskine, I think they are doing a good job, because what you've said something there, which is perfect. For what they've done to the rules, they've done everything right. They are adhering to it and saying, well, if you're telling us to tick a box, we'll tick that box.
Yeah.
What we need probably is some proper money going into Bradford, and somebody saying, Matt Ellis has come into this game, and he's my player of the year.
Yeah.
He's come up from these lot are going to have to do what Matt Ellis has done. They've come up and he's took it apart as Lee did.
Yeah, blow him on him, Ellis.
But he's brought something new to this game. What we needed. He didn't come up and go shaky wakey. All this. If that had been the old Wakey, would have all gone. Oh no. He's brought a vibrancy to something that is what Bradford need. They need a Matt Ellis coming into Bradford and saying, we're going to go up. We're going to go up with a bang. We're going to build up a best academy in country. We're going to build this. We're going to build that. We're going to build this. What players and the excitement. Even going to Wakey this year, I got asked I went there 3 or 4 times this year. Obviously, we're free. No, and it was absolutely electric every time. Every time we went, we were getting back in car and going, oh my God, you can't wait. Even Mick, who's an hard sell. Mick came to one of the games,
pre-season,
and he couldn't believe it. He could not get his breath. He was shoving chicken, and that's not to do it. He absolutely loved it.
Yeah.
So for me, let's put Wakey as the bar.
Yeah, the blueprint.
Let's make the blueprint.
And Lee before him, to be fair.
And Lee, yeah. And let's say if you come up, can any years match this? Because what we don't want to do, please take this on. We don't want you existing.
No.
We don't need an existing club coming up. I'd rather you not come up. If you're going to come, you've got to give it some hammer. That might mean getting a benefactor. It might mean having to find people to invest in the club, which OKR have done over the last 5 years.
Yeah.
It's worked an absolute treat. But we certainly got to. Matt Ellis has got to be awake. You've got to be the bar Powley, the staff.
Yeah, you
they've
can't.
They've just gone and hired. If it's true, we've seen the drawings. The biggest training facility could be UK coming. It's going to be for John Bastian's just gone. It is going to be phenomenal. They're coming in all guns blazing.
Yeah.
And I just don't want the 3 clubs to come. If them 3 clubs finish in bottom 3, I tell you what, I think that'd just sicken me beyond sickening. I think I'd say, why do you bother doing it if we're going to do Premier Football? Can
I just interject here? I think what's really difficult is because 13th and 14th are not going to get central funding, it's going to be almost, and because the decision is so late when nearly all recruitment's done, they're all behind the 8 ball. York have obviously made a brave call to start recruitment for full time a little bit, it might be 2 months ago really now. Bradford started last month really, so they're trying, but the comfort for them is that they're hoping that the 3 new teams, along with your Cass, your Huddersfield and one other, there's a mini league of 6 rather than going up and just being the worst team like London were. So I think
I don't want that mini league of 6 team. I'm dreaming.
I know you don't, and that's why really I was saying for the last 4 months, I would just say to all clubs who want to come in, whoever puts 10 million or at least 5 million in an escrow bank account and commits it to the club for the next 2 or 3 years, that's how we're judging it. And it is a big part of who they choose as 13th or 14th, who's got the money. But like you say, if it's just going to be a case of let's just keep up with them, then it's going to be grim.
Well, in your argument, it's probably got to be London then. It's got to be against you because they're the ones who
could have serious car. Yeah.
Well, they've signed multiple NRLs.
Yeah.
Still,
let's say Clint gets up, Joe, and Clint, who's done an unbelievable job to get him this far. Clint then goes, right, I need help, and I want to attract some proper investment. But he's going to be able to do it if he's in Super League.
Exactly.
So Clint, we need him in Super League, so we can say,
give him a chance. Yeah.
Well, you're going to get 5-10 million investment because York are in the. This is massive for York. They're in the Super League, so that could be a tick.
Yeah.
We need that type of planning. If Bradford go into that league, could they attract? I think they need the new ground. What Joe said, I think that's right. Right, they could attract a big owner in brand new ground. Bradford Bulls, brand new facility. London have already done that. Toulouse, we don't know that much about internally whether there's French investment.
Well, supposedly the money side of things over there is there's nothing to worry about.
Yeah, well, if that's true, then I just hope that the bigger picture is they come up, they do attract it. They use Super League as a leverage to get the investment in.
Yes,
we just don't have them 3 finish bottom, and there's a 10-point gap, and it's been pointless.
Yeah,
but we could have made the championship better.
I know, and that's where the key is because we still don't know if there's going to be promotion and relegation next year. So how would you say to let's use York and London example, you're York, you're London, right, do you want a spot? Yes. Do you want a spot? Yes. Have you got some money? Yeah, we've got some money. You're going to have to pay for it all yourself. So they're all getting 1.2, 1.4 off Sky. You're not having that. So really you need 2. Have you got 2? Yeah. By the way, you could get relegated at the end of the year.
Nigel Wood said that to me when I took Donny over. With them exact words. How much you got?
Which
I said no one's ever asked me that, Nigel, but that's a great thing to say.
It is, but it's so hard for you then to whack 2 million in, knowing that 2 million is still gonna be bottom 4. And you've got a chance to get it relegated.
So let's take Carl Hall this week. I spoke to Carl last week. Doncaster could become the next big thing. They have got the investment. They've got Terry Bramall. They've got the big hitters.
Yeah.
And if they think they're close to Super League, and it's what we've always dreamt about, that they're close, then the money men go bang.
Yeah.
They would have to spend this year or the last year saying to these people, which I'm assuming these conversations have been had by other people, and saying, listen, if we get there, I think Clint's got the written note, and it's more or less, if we get there, there's going to be a million to put into York. That's where he's obviously gone to the meeting and said, if you put me there,
totally.
And there's no wrong with that, that's business, that's life, they should all do that. Donny should be thinking that now, should be thinking, you know what? If we can get this investment 3 to 5 million, what Terry Bramall's willing to write off on his partners, we can walk up next year and go, they failed, what a nightmare, but we've got this investment. And I think that might kickstart a new...
Yeah, true.
We said this years ago, didn't we? Go and get clubs, when Gary used to say, it's all about the long term and all that, what we did. No, it ain't. We've said it before, it's about finding a benefactor who's willing to put some investment into your club.
Yeah.
And you know what? Every club's got a story of
weird.
Yeah, but every club's got a story now, right? The Wigan chairman, the billionaire, has come back into the club because he wanted to give something back to Wigan. It's where he dreamt as a kid. Neil Hudgell's just said his story. I used to spend my time on that terrace when I got money. The other guy, whose dad and him, the billionaire, he's put investment because of being on that stand as a kid. Castleford's new owners come in because he said, I spent my youth with my mum on that thing. Matt Ellis, unbelievable. Yeah. Gone there as a window sponsor, and suddenly realised he's not the window sponsor, he's one of the richest in the UK.
And Ferkel at the left
And Ferkel, so you've got it. So now it's coming. It is, unfortunately, let's all be honest, that is the
only
programme.
way in any sport.
They're saying Carrick now, because Gary's gone, Carrick never put the money in, investment each year. They said now Carrick is going to. Because
I thought it was always putting it.
No. I can't really. Don't get into that one. But 100%. Right. Carrick initially put the big investment into Gary to buy the club. After that, Leeds were the only profit organisation every year.
Yeah.
So no investment went in. So Gary's gone bump now. They've got to service debts. The stadium, the logo 30, 40, whatever it is.
Yeah.
But Paul's going to put some big investment in. This is the word that they're going to put some big investment into Leeds. Yeah. So there's no one going to be able to survive unless they've got that level of investment.
My point is, I think it's cruel for anyone to have a real chance. I feel they do need a little bit of protection, and you should say, look, if you get the spot this time round, you've got 2 years.
Yeah,
you need enough money for 2 years, and to find your feet in the league. For threat of being relegated immediately, it is likely to deter investment, because you can't just, even if someone had 5 million now in a salary cap sport with 95% of players being secure at another club for next year, even with best will in the world, there's not an awful lot you can do. So then it becomes a situation of, where is the long-term plan for the league? Do they say, in 2 years' time, we are hoping the league will be 15 or 16. So London, you're not in, but in 2 years, you do X, Y, and Z, you're in. Widnes will want to go at it, Donny might want to go at it, and there'll be others who want to be included, and you either expand, or someone fails miserably, you boot them out and give the others. But I don't want to see...
Yeah, but your voting should go that way, Jim. Derek, Kennett, Huddersfield, they've all been complaining for years about that, because they've had to put millions in. There's no guarantee they're going to stay in that league. I agree with you that they're controlling the sport now, the owners. So the owners now, we've just mentioned 11 clubs have all got benefactors. The benefactors can go to IMG tomorrow, Simon Moran, Warrington. Everyone's in the same boat, let's be honest. Salford need to find a billionaire to get through it. They should be saying, yeah, protect him. Because if I were going to throw him £3 million, I want you to give me 3 years.
Yeah.
Or so I'm not going to do it.
Yeah.
So I'd have thought, between the big men that have had them calls.
Well, I hope so.
Yeah, well, they said they're bringing promotion and relegation again.
Mick Gledhill is 100% confirmed that there's promotion and relegation next year.
That means it won't happen.
Well, we hope so. based on his
To be fair, on Mick on this stuff's been nearly 100% right.
Listen, Wicked, he has been right. I'm sure he'll be right.
He has been right about.
Well, he said this morning it's at 12, so I hope it's not
Nigel
right.
Woods.
He's just doing that to wind us up on the messages.
It'd be funny now because he's hilarious. His comments over the last month, I'm going to say this as I laugh to him. Our WhatsApp group over the last month, and if everyone's, he'll have 10 of us. When Galil's on fire, he has 10 different groups where he's just setting a light, and he comes on, and you engage a lot more than me, Jim and Joe, but he'll come on, and some of the stuff he puts on at the moment, he's like, he must be getting fed the chicken from everyone's using the meat to put the things out. And other day, I think he had 4. Hey. And then it's hilarious, isn't it? Because he's so close to what he's been. Let's be honest, he's been a Bradford fan all his life. He's 4 days away from going back to the promised land. Should be the greatest day of his life. The last time they had him at Bradford going down his chain to the side, he's had nightmares, hasn't he? It's like the suffragettes, isn't it? He's been this lad. You're thinking now, Mickey's now going to commentate in Super League for Bradford, which is massive for him because. He's that good. That is his job. But I'm looking at him now, and I feel as though he's been the campaign manager to throw in Suffolk to lose. He's had a little go at York. Hulk out this week when he come for Hulk out from nowhere. And I thought, why would you have a go at Hulk out 3 days before? But it's because Hulk out and hit top, he's throwing them hand grenades everywhere. I'll be funny because what we should do for the show, when we should, he will get to know first. We all know that, don't we? If you had a bet, who gets to know Wednesday night first? Would you say Gledl? He's got a chance to be under the table with a what do you call it? He's got a chance to be in that room somehow.
He'll get it hot, yeah.
Yeah, and I'm telling you now, I'd love to be just outside as the announcer. I hope they do it brilliant, and all of a sudden Gledl's the best hour of your life then because. He'll say how good it's been, the system. If Bradford get in, you know he's going to flake like you've never seen. It's been a true call. It's been great from the start. It'll be interesting mixed reaction because if Bradford didn't get in, God help us, he'll blow Twitter up, won't he?
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to be in the rugby league world.
I reckon all the Super League clubs are thinking when they're voting Bradford and thinking they've just seen Gledl coming with hat on and thing and thinking, here we go, we've got Mick to mix with now.
I'd have to go on holiday for 5 days just to get away from that Twitter stuff.
Right, well, listen, we've got one segment, guys. Have we got time to hit it off now? We've got 20 minutes to go through.
I've got 15 if you want to have a go.
Jimmy's going to do the England squad quick. We'll do it anyway. Put the phones away, guys. Jimmy, get your phone out to
15 minutes.
Yeah.
Sam, we're going to go for it now, straight on. So here's
rolling on, yeah.
You roll on to it, Jim. You take care of this and then ask the...
All right. Sean Wayne has announced his England Ashes squad in alphabetical order. Should I go through it all?
Yeah. Tell them camera, Jim, because they might not know.
They will by the time this goes out. But we've got John Bateman. Are we cheering or booing, or we'll just leave it for now?
Thumbs up or down?
Yeah, thumbs up or thumbs down. Right. You can do halfway.
John, I'm giving John halfway. Legend, John.
Yeah.
Legend, well, yeah, but okay.
Yeah, but on form.
You can't put it on form?
On form, I'm saying that's why I'm not going like that. I'm saying on form, I'm not going to...
I suppose we know who's in as well, so I'm only doing that because I know who's missed out.
Crack, yeah.
So based on who's missed out, AJ Brimson. I can't call that. I have no interest. Joe Burgess. Darryl Clark.
Let's give a little comment because we have to cover our bums now. Darryl Clark would have been a guarantee, and I'm going to put halfway. Yeah. Because I think it's a brave call. I think Daz has been one of the best hookers I've ever seen in my life. But this year, would I have thought Daz? He's obviously beat the Wigan lad at the last minute, hasn't he?
Brad O'Neill, yeah.
Because we've got Jez, Brad. We've got Jez in. So we now got Daz. So I'm going to go halfway because I think he's going to play. If they're going to play Took, I thought they might have gone what they did at Tottenham, where they had Mikey as They might have Mikey on the bench.
It's a far
I hope
team.
not.
I thought they'd do what they do at KR, where they put Brad O'Neill first 20 minutes, then bring Jez on. I thought that was a nailed-on approach after what we've seen in the final. So I'm going for that reason. Yeah. I loved Brad O'Neill 20 minutes, take the life out of the Aussies, or tried to take the life out of the Aussies, then put Jez on to electrify.
Jim, what are you doing?
So for that reason,
I'm saying it's the most mind-boggling decision I've ever seen to not have Brad O'Neill and Jez Litton as the combo.
I think
because I can't believe he's not picked him with him being a Wiganer, especially.
There'll be some questions to ask there, won't there?
Unless we found out he's got injured or something after game.
Yeah, you're right.
I can't believe that. Herbie Farnworth, biggest thumbs up. We
don't like him, but Herbie's all right.
Herbie's made it after this year.
He's too good.
Gonna cut your coffee garden this one.
Ethan Havard. He's had a bit of a mixed season, hasn't he, really?
And this is not against you, Ethan. It's just I'd like a bit more off you to be able to be playing him in that 24 squad.
Yeah, I'm going to give him that.
I'm biased on Rob Ballern.
Who's missed out as well.
Yeah, I'm looking at Rob Ballern thinking, has he had a better season than Ethan? He got injured a bit, but I'd have Rob. Sorry, by a bit.
Yeah, I think Mullen's really unlucky. I'm going to put it like that because I think there's a serious player in there. I just don't know if the form's there. Morgan Knowles.
Easiest one I'm
giving. George Delaney, I'm probably looking at that.
Right, so I'm learning this as I'm reading it. Yeah. So wow. All right, Matty Lees, Mikey Lewis. Go
on.
Love the show, mate.
Even more so, Jez Litton.
Not even more same.
Same, sorry. But yeah. I suppose I say that because Jez was a bit more concerned he might not. Mike McMeekan.
With a rest. Mike McMeekan with a rest because I think his form dipped a little at the end, but he were unbelievable throughout the full season.
Yeah.
But I think he needed that rest.
Harry Newman.
Jesus,
I think the debate is...
Who else?
Yeah, that's the debate. Because, like I said, Harry's had some great games this year and some quiet ones. Didn't step up in the big moment of the the quarter-final.
Can we quickly ask, sorry. Are we confident Farnworth's going to be fully fit?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right, so he's nailed on.
Yeah.
So we're looking for...
Wardle.
It'd be Wardle and Farnworth.
Yeah, so in theory, he's in squad, but he never in a million years gets above that.
Well, you're trying to say... This is my argument, so that's why I'm probably there.
Right.
Just to give you that. I'd probably have Ash above Harry. That's because he can cover wing as well.
Yeah, that's what
I'd have saved myself a winger there and gone, Ash can cover both. Now, I have heard that Harry and Ash, a couple of us wanted to injuries, I don't know if that's the thing, but I'd have certainly had Ash.
I think Ash needs surgery,
because he can do two, and that's massive for me. And I think Corey Hall's a cert for next year's will come just a little.
That's the bit I didn't get with Harry, because like you said, you've got the two in Wall at Harmless that seem nailed on. Maybe I'm wrong in Sean's eyes. So then why is he not gone utility? Harry's a centre in and out. I wouldn't have Harry at wing.
I'm saying that you've got Ash who can do both.
Well, not even Ash. Like you've got others, haven't you, that can play multiple positions. That's the bit where
we are stuck for quality, to be fair, in that position, aren't we? So we haven't.
Well, I think that shows it, to be quite.
So I'll go there for utility value.
And did they fair play to Harry? He's had a right thing this year.
It's been his best year for a long time.
He has. Well done, Harry. He has.
Yeah. All right. Well, yeah. I'll do that. Dom Young.
I'll be the first one, lads.
I don't know how much he's played this year, so you'll have to help me out.
He got left. He got dropped from his team. Had to go back to his old team. Can score tries, but
has he played more than 15?
I think he's probably played about half of
the season. Well, I'll put him in then, because his last performances for England, we've got to remember, he was the star.
He was the star in attack. He has not been the star in defence for 4 years.
No, but I'm also thinking, who's his competition? I'm happy.
I think we've got competition there. Well, big Lewis Martin, I think's lost that. The top try scorer.
I'm massive on Joe. I'm Lewis Martin's yardage and Barron's yardage would beat Lewis every day. I would beat Dom Young every day.
Yeah. I'm not going to argue that. I don't think we've got a winger who's a defensive master.
But that's probably Ash as well. I'd probably had Ash above. If I'll be honest, probably got Ash above all them. You know, I think he could have played both.
If he didn't play wing this year and he wasn't injured, I'm quite sure he has to go for surgery on his groin, so he might have been out. But the fact he hasn't played wing this year is such a shame, because I still think against the Aussies, it's different if you're picking a team for lower nations, but against the Aussies, you've got to consider the defence.
Dom's got the experience to be the best player in the tournament. I'm sure he has. He has got a proven record scoring in the highest level of the competition. We cannot deny that.
Yeah.
The things that we said years ago, defensively and yardage, are going to come here. We're going to be playing in this test match. I know the way Wayne plays will be an absolute grind, and it'll be an absolute. So the flamboyant bit, I don't think we'll see. So that's why I would
not going to get a chance against
Aussies. Joe Burgess and Ash would have probably been my 2 picks, if I'll be honest. I couldn't see further.
Okay, well, we're getting on to another winger shortly, so we can throw it back open there. But next selection is Big Mick. Let's get.
Show me.
Two comes. Tom Johnson. I think I'm happier with this selection than you two, perhaps. All right.
Yeah,
no competition. I had Tom in there.
Yeah.
Sorry,
I remember when we discussed Joe Burgess last time.
I've got Tom and Joe.
Yeah.
And I had Ash's cover for centre and wing. Apologies. That'd be a cert.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, I still think he's our number one. Kai Pearce-Paul.
Been injured a lot this year.
I don't know.
We've got to.
How many has he played?
Over what?
I'm in 7th, eh? And that's a massive call. But it's 2 years.
I suppose fit squad. We're talking about being in squad, aren't we? We're not necessarily talking first team. So fit squad. Harry Smith. I think it's got to be in squad. Again, we don't get too carried away with team.
I'm just thinking now.
What would the other options, isn't it? Other options.
It's in the squad. Is it the 1 and 3? Yes.
Yeah. Morgan Smithies. Owen Trout.
By the way, the only show-me player who was, decided to go elsewhere, who I've still got the respect for, love him to be. So that's.
Yeah. Owen Trout. What a back end of the season.
Third.
Yeah,
earned his spot, because he wouldn't have been in halfway through the season.
No.
But that back half of the season, Wayne has had no choice. So that's brilliant, because it's not easy to get in Wayne.
And he could play probably prop, back row. He'd even win it loose. He's been playing back row back end of the season, so you look, he'd probably do him anywhere.
Yeah, definitely. The sort of athlete we need in the middle against the Aussies, which then brings us on to the polar opposite, Alex Walmsley. So for me, it's nothing against Walmsley, but against the Aussies, I just don't see it. I just don't see it.
Well, he's the only one with that sort of. He's our biggest prop, so I think that's what you've got to see. That he's been unbelievable for England.
He's been the Premier forward for 3 years.
I have nothing against
that. His legs have gone a bit. So
I have nothing against Walmsley and what he's achieved, but against the Aussies, I don't see that working personally. So I'd have him against every other nation, but not the Aussies. Jake Wardle.
Got to, haven't you, really?
I were all over Jake until last 5 weeks, and then I don't know if he's carrying an injury, so I'm going to try and I'm going to go, but I've got a feeling he's carrying something. I watched him. He don't.
Yeah, we had this chat yesterday, didn't we?
He don't move right. Not the same.
Look, his dynamic and his explosive.
Yeah, so I think they should have. I don't know. Maybe they declared.
He's still number one centre in our comp who's English for me, by head and shoulders, even if he's had a mini dip. So it's big thumbs up.
There's a few coming for him though. Your Maya, Corey. There's
the next generation are coming, but he's still got
early season form. We're coming.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Callum Watkins.
Yes, he's been phenomenal for Leeds.
I've got him.
You're saying Walmsley against the Aussies, and you're saying to Callum. Who's gonna get? Callum's amazing. He's a superstar. He's mine. But he don't move like he can't.
No, but
that's why he now plays back row.
Yeah, but even then you're about Walmsley. How can you say Walmsley? And Callum at 35. Callum's on one leg.
But Callum can play.
Watch him, he's on one leg.
But he can cover every position on the park. That makes him
so versatile. Listen, as a squad player, I have no
problems about this. What does he deserve it this year? Yes. Yeah. So yes for that. Yes.
And this is squad.
You have to be careful if them Aussies get a roll on. with them old legs, it's going to be an absolute.
I think Callum will have to handle that. I love to see you.
I'm thumbs up because he's played that well.
He's been unbelievable this year. The big difference around Leeds.
Jack Wellesby.
Got to really, haven't you?
Got to be there.
There's literally no other choice. I think that's whatever we think of.
I think he's had his worst year.
He has, but who else?
Do I still think he's there? Of course I do, but I think he's had the. Are we that short in that area then? Is that what you're saying?
Name you of a fullback, big Max Jowett or Jake Connor. So Jake Connor's the big one that everyone's furious about. But as a fullback,
against the
Jake.
So we've only got three. They're the three options.
AJ Brimson. That's why we signed the Aussie. That's why we bought the Aussie.
Wow.
The Aussie.
Wow, that's scary then, isn't it?
Yeah, 6 months ago you'd be going, Ryan Briley should be getting a shout.
Yeah, I still. No, he didn't have the back end of the year. Jack Walker. Not for this.
You're going to get hammered.
No, stop. You need to say Jack Walker. If I were Jack, I'd be in pre-season because if he hits 30 games next year, if that's what we're saying, that's the bar. He did more in 5 games than most of them have done.
George Flanagan's the young fullback who's had a good year.
If you're a young fullback now, you'd be thinking here with young Rooney, you'd be thinking it's on here because Wellesby, without doubt, let's all agree, 100%. But Jack has to be better than what he's been. He's got to be for us to beat the Aussies. He has got to be.
100%.
What's he scored 5 tries all year or something? I don't know.
No, he's had a few because had loads of assists, Jack. Hasn't he?
He missed a big part of it, didn't he?
If you think he's been anywhere near Jack, I've
not said that.
No,
I've not said that. But there's no other option, and he's our premier fullback in the. So unless we go Oz or put her.
No. I'm saying it's quite sad, that isn't it? That's quite a sad.
Yeah, it's the one position we don't have at any level other than the young. We've got a couple of young players that, like you said, Fletch, all these other lads, you'd be dancing.
Yeah, and again,
Will Price, sorry, but he's been injured.
Flanagan's been the young fullback with a real breakthrough year, to be fair, albeit a team that's really struggled on it. But and then it's rounded off with George Williams,
the captain, been announced as the captain. So we've got to put that in.
This is another hard one, isn't it? Because you look at Jake not playing. And you look at his form against George, you have to go for Jake on form.
Definitely.
But George is an absolute. This kid has took the Aussies on. If you're picking Dom Young, he has been at that level and took them on, and he's not scared of them. He knows he can. He went to Canberra. That first stint at Canberra, what best half in comp for 10 games. But what last time we seen George dominate? Now is it because? George's argument is simple, isn't it?
Yeah.
I'm in a Warrington team that's low in confidence and he's not good enough. Yeah. And if I was in a Wigan team or a Hull KR team, I could do what Mike and Harry doing. So George's defence to Wayne would be, look at my team.
Yes.
But they put 350 grand into him, that team, for him to be that player. I don't think he has been that player.
No.
I don't think Warrington fans would sit there and say, best signing we've ever made, it'd be George Williams. I think they'd say, far from it, if I'm being honest. But George has to play. He's still one of the most exciting arse we've got in our comp.
He has to be in the squad.
And the lads, I think he's good. I think all the lads, he's got that. Do you know one thing about George? He's got that confidence, hasn't he? He's got that. I don't think he'll be phased, do you?
No, I don't. I think he's... And I think against the Aussies, lads who've done it before and who've been over there, it'll definitely help.
The most unlucky players.
Shall we talk about who's missed out?
2 minutes to the most unlucky player not to make it, you'll have one each. 2, we're allowed 2. 2 each.
2. But you can't... Do you want to go first?
I'll go first.
So we don't copy yours.
I think...
We'll do one each at a time.
Well, I think the most unlucky one would be Shanley. I've made it. I don't. And do you know what? You know my feelings. I've never been massively over. Yeah. But I think to cover 2 positions physically, he's made massive inroads with his carry to be physical in defence and physical in attack. So I look at him and think, why didn't they have him as a dual purpose and waste a position?
If he's not injured, then obviously I do think he might have not been.
I thought Mick's just texted me, so I'll text Joe.
If we're just doing one, are you going to do the Jake argument or am I?
Either or,
I'll do. Sorry, Jim. I'll do the one I want to do. I'll do Dean Adley's. I thought I'll give Dino good shout. Obviously, Dino's had the worst luck in ever not to be picked there. He's just not led, but he's just
Thompson not in.
No, Thompson's not in.
Said that once.
But Hadley's been one of the standout players for KR this season. Being an unstandout player, by that I mean being a
shocking
workhorse, an animal, just tackles thing. I think he had to be in there. And same comments about Trouty. He can play anywhere on that. He can play anywhere in that middle.
But he's in.
Yeah. Trouty.
But what we said about Trouty.
I said what I've said about Trouty. You can play Dino everywhere, and he does a good job everywhere. And he's physical. I'm not bothered about his physicality. He's took on him like he said. He's took on them all. That massive Wigan pride, massive anyone.
Yeah.
So Dino, I think for not. And because he's 32 now, isn't he, Dino? It was his last go. These others have had a shot and sadly not won a thing. So I think Dino had a shot at the title, and they've not given him the shot at the title.
Shocking.
Yeah, I think we'd all say that we're all agreed that is the worst call in the whole squad. The worst call. Yeah,
shocker.
Really, really sad. Sad, depressing, and disgraceful. That's what I'll say.
Yeah,
because what more do you need to do? Because you often argue, well, he's done all that, but he wanted a team that worked before. But what more do you want to do? Because we all know
just won the treble.
If all
been an 80-minute middle in the treble winning
and if all the old KR players have to say they're 3-star players, he's in all of
it. For the last 3 years.
So and who's he up against?
Him and Jess get in straight away.
And he's not fighting for positions with people who are 100% nailed on unconditioned.
No, agree.
So that's sad. Very quickly then, I'll do Jake Connor, because a bit of me can understand it, because if we go back to the start of the year, everyone's talking Harry, Mikey and George. What does he do with these three? Because Mikey is making himself where he has to be picked, because he is the standout English half. And then how do you make it work? Do you drop the captain? Do you drop Wiganers? What do you do? Now, Jake has had such an impressive season, and I can understand the physical side and the history, why he's not picked him. But for me, for us to beat the Aussies, I think we're going to have to do something really special. I'm sure most do. I don't think we're going to go toe-to-toe with them and beat them at their game and grind them down. I don't see that.
I think we're better than them, mate.
Well, fair enough. My opinion is, for us to beat the Aussies, we're going to have to come up with some magic. Jake Connor is capable of more magic with a pass and something creative than all of the others put together. Not running wise, because I'd have Mikey every day. Mikey's
defensively be found out with Aussies. There's no doubt
about that. He would, but let's be honest. Harry Smith can defend. George is all right defending, but they're all going to struggle defensively against the Aussies. They need to get looked after. But Jake Connor is a special, creative player, and we probably will need something like that. But like you've said there, I can see why he's not. But to have the season he's had,
give it every chance.
I think he deserves
to be in the squad.
My next one quickly would be, I won't go for George to leave. Louise Martin, for me, should have been in with a shout. I think the Aussies want us in. I didn't know till the other day when they asked him, is he faster than Barron? And he looked at camera and went, I am a lot faster. So he must be nearly top pace. Athletically, he's got everything. He's brilliant in air defensively. He's brilliant at reading defensively. I said this to John Bastian yesterday. Take away the 3 or 4 players in each club in Australia, the elite players. The truth is, we've probably got as good players in our compass. Take away their best 4, we've got the best. Some people say, would English players play in NRL? Take away probably 3 or 4 really special. Maybe some clubs only got 2, but take away so many of them who they're top 20 elite. Yeah, I think probably 40 or 50 of ours who could go in there and play a squad number 8, 10, 12, 16, 20. John actually said, I've never really put like that. He said, you're right. I said, of course it is. I said, now, our challenge is on the test match. Can we keep neutralise? I mean, that fullback's performance at Brisbane, I've never seen anything like it. If he comes, we're all going to. And if you remember last time Ozzy come, that winger, they've just put in the squad. He was the standout. But if you watched it live, he was like, we had nothing in our country could ever get like that since Martin Fire. Like a winger of that ability.
Which one are you talking about?
When he come last time, he destroyed us, got about 15 tries.
Adokar.
He went full at Headingley, and I can remember
the semi-final try gets a
I can remember watching Jared Hayne 6 years before that at Old Trafford and going, we haven't got a player at that ability. Lockyer, you know. I think somebody like that with Lewis Martin will only get that is if we give these kids a chance. Would I have picked Lewis above Tom and Burge? No. Would I have had him in the squad?
Experience.
I'd probably looking at that angle with Harry and around that and saying, I'd have probably tried to get Lewis in somewhere, because if Wayne is going to win World Cup next year, he has to do at least 5 of them.
But yeah, I think that's a really good point.
He has to
You've
do
got
it.
to bleed him in.
What's he called, your centre? Robertson, who you like, you know, he's probably going to have to make
them. My centre back that he's got.
You know, you really like.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I hope that it's now quite a long run that wraps up RGB, thumbs up, down, or in between. One thing for sure, I'm sure we'll all be behind you. The England, let's beat the Aussies. I've never been as confident that we've actually got a real chance. It's been a fantastic year in Rugby League, and I can't wait for the next 3 games. So, over and out.